So we live in a time where it's really common to hear people make excuses for their actions and inactions. This is today's live on Equa Television International. And we're going to be discussing living without excuses. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Equa Television International. Do well to join this conversation. If you have been found wanting of making excuses for your actions and inactions, you would do well to stay with us so that you can find ways that you can pull through and overcome this. I think I would like to liken it to spirits of making excuses for every action and inaction. Sambo Solomon Sabe is right here. Jemima and Prudence. So why did I go this way? It's the green for me. It's me and Sambo Solomon that didn't get the memo. Even though,
Yes.
but it's fine.
You're close.
Okay, I'm better. Me, I'm close. Somebody's off. But
You know,
The
if
only
he
man-
comes to the middle,
mm.
that's Nigeria.
Oh wow, that's true.
Honestly.
Patriotic citizens.
maybe we should change
of my country. I mean, you all just take a look at this
Nigeria for
patriotic
life.
Nigerians. I hope
Nigeria for life.
I hope you are a proud one,
Yes.
and you're playing your part in terms of social responsibility to ensuring that things are working and working well.
We're doing the
Very
best we
well.
can.
Okay.
Very well.
When you hear people use some kind of tone, it's amazing to be alive in
Yes.
such a time like this. A lot of people are struggling with one thing or the other. Go to the hospital, you can't help but just shed tears, and then things are happening to people what they didn't even plan, and yet God has kept us. We're not even better than those people, but His grace, His mercy found us. And like the psalmist will always say, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So should we make excuse, or should we just forge ahead? Because it's common, like I said earlier on, to just hear people make excuses. At work, people are making excuses. In the family, people are making excuses. In their relationship, they are making excuses. And the funny part is those set of people that will blame another person for their failure. Like, it's really terrible to live among such people. You just failed in something, and instead of you to take responsibility for your action, you say, it's Sambo Solomon that caused it. And then when you look at the whole issue critically, I mean, you're at fault. But it's just part of them that they can never
They don't
take.
want to take
They
the
won't
blame.
take responsibility, like for their inaction. You just did something, and wire got burnt, and your axe, and it's not because Martha put something here. That was why. Like, you find people like that. So,
You will never be at fault.
You know what you're just saying just reminds me. I know you mentioned us being patriotic citizens and all that, and then we had the voting period. That's about a year now,
True.
and a lot of people who did not go out to vote are the loudest in complaining right now and saying, "Oh, we have a very terrible government and all that." But this is you just making excuses for your failures.
True.
Because if you had gone out to vote, they would have not gotten the opportunity to turn around the elections the way they did. So these are all things that we're supposed to do. More times than not, excuses arise from we refusing to do what we are supposed to do. And because you're refusing what you were supposed to do, you do not want to own up to the responsibility of your errors, the error of your ways. Either you've done it rightly or wrongly, or rather, either you've done it wrongly or you did not do it at all. That's why you said actions and inactions. Someone was saying that if you are in a crossroad to make a decision and you decide not to make the decision, you have already made a decision. That's your decision is to fail. So more times than not, is someone who has decided to fail or has decided to take the wrong path that comes out and is asking, making excuses. Oh no, this person made me do what I did. It's because of this circumstance I found myself. I was not sure if I was going to do it right or wrong, and that's why I did not do it. You're just creating excuses. It doesn't make sense. And because you keep creating excuses, you end up just not doing anything. You're just like living. You're just living life, or rather life is living you. You're just moving through the motion. You're just going and going, and there's no significance in your life. even to you yourself, there's no
That's the sad
significance.
part of it all.
And you know, excuse is excuse,
Mm.
whether it is a positive one or a
You hear
negative
people
one.
say, Jemima, I'm not trying to make excuse. Oh.
You
But they will
just
give
you
excuse.
just made the excuse. Especially when you hear people say, with due respect,
Correct.
they are trying to do something that is
Mhm.
negative.
Mhm.
So excuse is excuse, whether it's positive or negative. And you hear people say, I am busy. I was busy. That's why I didn't do this. I don't have time. But the same people that are busy, there are things that they prioritize, that they make out time for. No matter how busy they are, you still find them finding little time to do that thing. So excuse is excuse, sorry. Even if you were busy, you would find time to do something. Even if you were not busy, you would still find time to do something. So if you're always saying, this is why I didn't do this is why I did this, it's better you just don't from the start just say, I'm not going to do this.
Funny enough, people like that don't even say that. They will just say,
Exactly.
okay.
And you know, if you live a life
Mm.
that is void of excuses, it makes you to be accountable to yourself, because you know that I am supposed to do this thing. So when I don't do it, I hold myself accountable. And then eventually people would even begin to learn from you. It makes you persistent, it makes you resilient, and it makes you not to be lazy. Because you know that you have promised yourself that you are going to do this thing. Nobody, Solomon Sambo, would not come and remind you. In fact, an alarm clock would not have to remind you that you're supposed to do this thing, because you have decided within yourself that you are going to do it. But a lot of times we're just open. We leave it like a blank check. So if I have time, well, I will do it. If I don't have time, well, I am busy. So a lot of times, even when we have time, because it is open, we just want to remain in our own comfort zone and not do a lot of things.
You know,
True.
Jemima mentioned something, and that just brought something I came across. I think about last year, I came across this. Someone was saying that a lot of times we live in a delusion of, I don't have time, I am too busy. And this person was talking about how we need to create time to study the Word of God and all that. And we keep saying, I'm busy, I don't have time, I'm busy, I don't have time. And he gave this illustration of a very busy businessman who kept on saying, I'm busy, go to church, I'm busy. He was invited to a study group, I'm busy, I don't have time, and things like that. And suddenly, he was really sick, and he had to he went to the hospital, and he was told he had cancer. So he had to be going for treatment and all that. He created the time. The time he said he did not have, he created it now. So this just boils down to the fact that when you're living in the delusion of, I don't have time, it's because you don't prioritize what you're supposed to do. If it is a priority, if it is something that you have put your heart to do, just like she said, is that you would find the time. Whether it seems like there's no time, you will create that time. You find yourself creating the time. In fact, you find yourself blocking out certain things and creating that time. Little wonder you see students who did not read for so long, but because they know that they are the detriment of failing these exams, you find them creating the time to read for their examinations. So it's just, if you really need to do something, prioritize it, and you would not need to struggle with time, because you will find ways to do it.
I felt to make excuses is normal. It's normal,
It's like nature.
right? Because there are certain things that we normalize and make it to be part of life, because it started with Adam and Eve. So we feel it is okay to just make excuse. And if you check the history and you see what happened and how they defend themselves with the excuses they gave that led us to where we are today. But forgetting that already someone has come and then he has created the balance to tell you that certain things are not supposed to be that way. This is the plan and this is how it should be. And then but because some people made it a way of life. And I think that's where the problem is. If you make it to be a way of life, then it becomes a problem. And that's why people that make it a way of life, nothing you will say that they will not say something.
I mean, that's a ton of.
That's it. Yes. Nothing you will say, they must say something. They will give you reason. That's why it pissed me off when people don't take responsibility. First thing is to just tell you, I am sorry. And it's okay. But they will tell you the reason why they did what they did. Before they will
that
tell you.
apologize, so they will say, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault.
Yes.
That's not sorry.
Yes, that is not sorry.
That's not being apologetic. That's not being
let's just
sincere.
say sorry
You're
and
trying to
end
be
the conversation.
defensive.
You understand? So you see, if you take it to be way of life, I think that's where there's a problem. But you see, the reason why I said it's normal, a kind of, there's a way you will get engaged in doing certain things and then you forget certain things. Like I was reading something, he was like, I was really engulfed with this particular work. I even forget that I didn't even eat, and the food is right beside the person, so you can see, right? So sometimes you have responsibilities, line up in trying to handle those responsibility that are even prioritized, like you said. At the end of the day, you just find out one is suffering. You easily forget that you're supposed to do this because you are being taken over by A and B and C.
But I don't
and then
think
D.
we should see excuses as normal thing, because this has led to a lot of destruction. It has been really detrimental at work.
I think not normal, not normal, but okay.
So it
You
shouldn't
understand?
be something
If you
we
say
should do
normal,
okay, because everything bounces back to priorities and even planning. A lot of times you see people don't even why is it that people don't always make out excuses? It's because they don't take responsibility, fear of punishment, fear of I don't want to be seen as somebody that's irresponsible and all of that. But it has become a pattern and it has turned out to be your lifestyle. Nobody wants to do anything with you again because they know they can't trust you. So it is something that if you find yourself in that shoe, that every time you're making excuses for failures, you should deal with that attitude. You should change from it, because you see, at work it will affect the productivity of that organization. Think about it when you're supposed to assign responsibility, when work needs to be done, and you don't hear the people that are involved, your team members are not informed about the right thing to do, and at the end of the day that production fails. Who do you want to blame? You want to say, okay, someone that always makes excuse will say, but you should have asked me. But at the end of the day, the production did not hold because you failed in your own responsibility. So it's always detrimental, and that is why we should not normalize it. If some people say it's just I was like you said, I was engrossed in this work, so I forgot to eat. You shouldn't. She just made an illustration of how somebody was not making out time for church activities or even our health. We don't even make out time. At the end of the day, sickness will come and you will have to create the time.
Definitely.
In fact, you will not even have time to go and do the business again. So you see, when you prioritize, you know that when you wake up, these are the things you're supposed to do. At social time, you should eat your food. If you're unable to eat it, I'm going to eat by this time. But not for us to always make out excuse for our failures. You come to work, you know you are employed to do this, and then you're always making excuse. I'm not productive. It's because my organization did not even recognize me. I've been working for how many years, no promotion. How will I put in my best? That's an excuse, because you're also doing harm to yourself. It is not about the years you spend in a place. It's about the value you add to that place. You see, somebody will tell you that I'm not putting in my best because I have been here. I've not been rewarded. But somebody that just came and look at so you see, all these are excuses for us not putting in our best. And at the end of the day, work suffers.
You see, when there are some excuses that are genuine, and I think people should not misunderstand me when I say normal, because when I say normal, it's something that you just feel is normal, so you can just relax. But when I say okay, when you make genuine excuse for not doing something, I think it's okay, because
Maybe instead of
Yeah.
excuse, you
Oh.
take responsibility for not doing it.
Yeah, I think
I
you are
think
just
what he's-
exchanging because the normal thing is that it's either you take responsibility or not taking responsibility.
I think what
Oh.
he's saying is that this is something that happened and it is out of your control. See, for instance, a mother who needs to be at work at a certain time and her child falls sick and she has to be there to take that child to the hospital. This is her having a genuine reason that is not it's out of her hands. Yes, it's not something that she planned for. It's not something that she neglected and that's why it is happening. No, this is something that is out of control. So I think that's where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find yourself in situations that are out of control, out of your control. There's
Well
nothing you can
understood.
do about it. And in those situations, I know a lot of people would say, I've seen one where a mother was sick, was supposed to be at a morning production at a media organization. She was supposed to be at a morning production and she could not make it because her child fell ill that morning. So she had to take the child to the hospital. And her boss came in and saw that this desk was empty and just saw a core member there. And this person just goes ranting and she had to get a query for that. Her error might be that she did not communicate it to the right authorities. So sometimes that's where our mistakes are. She did have a genuine excuse, but she did not communicate properly. So sometimes that's where the problem lies. As much as it lies with us, if there's a genuine reason why you're not able to do something, communicate. And that's when it does not become an excuse.
You see, excuse in itself is not like a criminal offense.
Yes.
Excuse in itself, but when it becomes a pattern and your lifestyle, then it is a problem that you need to work on. Because in itself is not a criminal offense. That is why you have offices having excuse form. That if I will not be available tomorrow, I communicate that for this reason, that reason, I will not be available. But when it becomes a pattern, like it is something you need to work on. And for some people, it's normal. Like every day, is one excuse or the other. One excuse or the other. You will not be productive. You will not grow. See, like work will suffer.
Yes. And you know, people that give excuses, they come giving you explanation when you did not even ask for it.
Ask for.
So it's mostly out of guilt.
Yes.
Like when you see someone that was not at work and you know, hey, do you know what happened yesterday? And they give you a long narration that you did not even care
And
to
at the end
listen
you're
to.
asking,
So and then for
really?
me, I feel people that take a lot of excuses like this, they are looking for justification. Deep within them, they know that that excuse is not justifiable, is an act of irresponsibility. But they want to gain acceptance from every other person so that you don't see me as the irresponsible person that I am. So I have to give you a reason, and it has to be lengthy,
Scientific life.
and it has to it has to catch your attention. But the thing is that when people know you for this, no matter
Nobody
the
will
kind
trust
of reason, the day you would give a genuine reason, no one will take you
In fact,
serious,
you know,
because
you
they
will not be
feel
trusted
this is
with
your
work.
life, that is who you
You
are.
will not even be trusted with
You
work.
will not.
At work, when you are that person that is always taking the excuse, there can be an opening that somebody is needed
Your
to
name
do
will not
something,
pop up.
and your name might be mentioned, but the organization, no, you can't trust this person because that day of the event, it might be that somebody slump. So, and I cannot make it, or I have to cook. No, it's common. These are things we often hear at work. So people will come up with not just a lie, but a scientific lie, because they would make sure that they take the lie to the lab and test it, that when they tell you cannot deny it. I remember back then in school how that we had this particular lecturer that once he's in the class, you don't enter. You come close to the door and he sight you, tell you repeat the course. You did not enter his, but because he enter, you come close to the class, you repeat the course. So that very day he said we're going to have a test, and then this lady came, and when she came, he turned like he was shocked that I'm in class and somebody's attempting to enter. My friend, if you enter this class, you will not just repeat this course. You will have F in all your courses. That was what he told the lady. She said, sir, I was admitted in the hospital yesterday. I'm just coming. And he looked at her. And He said, just come in, because if I ask another question, she will say she has not paid hospital bill. So let me save myself that part. Come and just enter and
Just
sit down.
enter first.
So you see, funny enough, after the class, she was laughing that she cooked up that story. In fact, even within the lecture, he said he knows that that was a lie. But because it's a scientific lie, like there's no way he will catch her on that lie. It is only her maker that knows. Because somebody will tell you that yesterday I was admitted in the hospital. How do you want to know when you are not there with her? And you say, I'm just coming from the hospital right now to just so that I can write this test. And he allowed her. And after the class, I said, I had to cook up this because I can't afford to miss this class. And that was it. So there are people that it has become a pattern for them. It's not something there are people that if they will not be at work, they will keep thinking. Like they're thinking of their responsibility. They are thinking of what will suffer if they are not there and all of that. But other people forget. I'll just tell them.
They are there or not, nothing changes.
Do you understand? And so the person is like, forget, I know what I'll tell them. And it's a sad place to be, where you can just abscond from work or your business and you are not, like your absence is not felt.
And one thing that I notice, Joyce, is that I say in church, right?
You just spoke outside.
It's not a crime.
Right?
Right?
Right.
Just
You can
interpret
replace
it.
the bar with right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
If you look at it very well, you'll find that such people don't have single interest in what they are doing.
It's just
They don't have single interest on themselves. Like, they don't care about what happened to themselves first. Then think about the organization they are working for. Because people like that, they don't care. Even if the organization is crashing, they don't care.
Like
Because-
whiling away time.
Yes, they're just whiling away time, and they feel anything, they can just get away with anything. That's why they can just cook any kind of lie, and then whether you believe it or you don't believe it, you will not even see any sign of remorse in them. Even if you say you are giving them query, they will say, hi, yes. People like that, that's what
Not
you
to
hear.
like-
They will say, hi, yes. Is it not query? Hi, yes, for me to reply. Worst come to worst is 2 weeks suspension, and I will go and come back.
You're not
You know-
thinking of the dent it will
Check
create
very
in
well.
your
Yes,
records.
check very well. Check such people. That's their attitude. They don't care. It's like they are putting this attitude like, I don't have anything to lose. After all, maybe they forced me to be employed here. It's my father that sent me, or it's my uncle that insists that I should work here. After all, I don't have anything.
You know the one that
I almost say Misali.
You know the one that
Example.
pain me the most is people that do business. Like you are into business, you sell particular products or you render certain services, and every day they go, it's not available. Tomorrow, we don't have it. Oh, next tomorrow, I'm here to go to the market. Oh,
You're not ready
Like,
for that.
somebody was sharing her story how that she went to a salon to remove her nails, and then the lady said she was not doing anything, but she
Is
said
it the artificial nails
yes,
or
and she
the-
said that she
okay.
wanted to remove the artificial nails, and she said that she doesn't have dissolver. The following day, somebody came to her shop and can you recommend any salon close by? I said there's a salon there, and she went again, and I don't have a dissolver. Oh, and you are in business, you have shop rent to pay,
Exactly.
you have
Even if
and
you don't have
And
shop
how
rent,
much is the
you need
dissolver. Like,
We are not talking.
what will it take you to go and buy
What
it and
Hair
restock?
dryer?
The dryer.
Do you understand?
Like-
What will it take you to just restock? But your laziness will make you kill your business by yourself. And tomorrow you say, God, where are you? Nobody's patronizing me. When you see another person is being patronized, you say they are using juju. Like these are common terms or statements you keep hearing people that.
So just look at it. That person owns the business. Does that person care about himself? That one, you are not even working for somebody. Assuming you are working for somebody who said is the madam that at the end will enjoy, but this one is your own. But look at the attitude she's putting. That means she doesn't even care.
So even when you're given a bigger portion of things to
How?
do, you would not
What
do
did the
it.
Bible
You would
say
not-
about a little
You know,
about a little beginning?
you know something. Actually, came across someone's response to a query, and the first thing I thought was, was this person even ready to take up this job? Because that response was, I'm trying to find the word that will fit into it. So
There's
literally,
no word here.
I'm
We'll create one.
It was rude. It was rude. It was dismissive, and the whole thing was an excuse that made no sense. It's like, okay, so I did not do this, but it is the organization's fault.
Oh wow.
And because it's the organization's fault, I don't see why I needed to receive a query. I'm just paraphrasing, but that's how it did sound after reading that response. That's how that response sounded.
Like
And I
the
mean,
organization fail in her own responsibility, and then they are asking her why she failed. Simply
You
put.
know, there are times that we are
Exactly.
constrained.
so
There are times that you can be constrained as an employer, as a staff.
Mm.
When you take direction, every organization has an organogram, how
Yeah.
operation is carried on. Now, as a subordinate, you're constrained because you cannot take up decision on your own. You rely on your head to give you an instruction or direction. And where he or she fails in his or her responsibility, a lot of times you hear, there's nothing I can do. So that we actually have leaders, we have superiors that make it difficult for people to achieve their tasks. We also have others that make it also not easy for people. Like they actually make people give excuses. Because if I come to, there was a time on this show I was
making people feel.
yes, there was a time I asked this question. You are an employer, nobody said anything to you. What can you do? You want to go and start carrying chair and take to another place that they did not send you? What if in the process of carrying the chair it breaks, and that is not even your responsibility? So what do you want to say? So sometimes you should give people direction. Let their roles be clearly stated, so that you don't have this clash of people not taking responsibility. It's easy for you to just say this thing is broken. Who did it? You don't even need to ask because you know that it's under this person's custody. So how will the person make excuse? But where you have different people coming to pick and drop, because nobody, it doesn't belong to anybody. It's not under anybody's custody. At the end of the day, it can get broken, and then nobody will take responsibility for that. So while I'm not making an excuse for that person, because somebody like that, of course, is not even passionate about what he or she is doing. But we need to also play our part as leaders, as superiors, by making sure that instructions are clear. That way, we don't even need to ask who did this. You won't even give room for any excuse, because you can just tell that based on the responsibility assigned to you, you are responsible for this. So if I just really pray. Sometimes I wonder why people just take up their businesses, their work so casually. You hear a lot of statements that people make, and all are excuses for their failures. But you know the sad thing is this: there's actually no excuse for failure. There is none. If you fail, that means you didn't take responsibility for what you are supposed to do. Don't think that when you give excuses, people will applaud you and say, actually, it's not your fault. It can be that, but you have a role to play to make this thing work. There are employees that will say they will be on their boss's neck to spell out their responsibility. They will ask question. You're not asking question. You're not saying anything. You're just there doom. Like, you're not playing your own part as well. I'll tell you later after the show. But you see, two things that are, for me, are antidotes to living without excuses. Your hunger and your appetite for excellence is what will make you live up and above excuses.
Exactly.
When you are hungry for something, for example, and then you just eat and you are okay, you see, you don't need the food again. At that moment, what you just want to do is just to get up and continue with your activity. But if you have appetite, you always want more. Even when you are filled, but there's desire for more. When you see people of value and people of excellence, see, the world is looking for them. Sometimes we sit and we're complaining, no work, no, I'm paid little and all of that. When you have value and you are a person of excellence, see, the world will look for you. There are people that are getting employed as we speak on their own terms. People will employ them. We and you were in an event, and this lady is saying she has 3 jobs, and the third one she didn't even submit a CV. In fact, they just picked her, and she said, "I can't be available all week long." They said it's okay. I can only be available on this day and that day. They said fine,
And they were thanking her.
and appreciating her for accepting that job. So we must learn to have hunger and appetite for excellence. When we have that, we learn to prioritize and take up responsibility for what we ought to do. Let's not be those kind of people that nobody wants to associate or do things with. Because if you are that person that is always making excuses, then nobody will trust you. Nobody want to do business with you.
Exactly.
Nobody want to work with you. Nobody want anybody that is productive and want result or is result oriented will not want to have you in his or her own team. So learn to do even without people saying, oh, I was not giving direction. Or tell yourself, this is who I want to be. This is where I want to be. If I want to be a person of value, then I know I have to take up responsibility day in, day out. I don't even have to wait for somebody to tell me, you need to study so that you can do better. No, I don't need somebody to tell me, because I know that for me to be better, I need to put it in hard work, especially in the area of study. Making research. So you see, you cannot say, it's because they did not provide for me what I need. There is no data, there's no this, that's why I'm just like that.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, wow.
2-3 years, there will be no data, there will be no...
Okay.
You know what is interesting is that in a scenario where where this person is saying no data, nothing for me to work with, somebody is still doing their research. Somebody is still sacrificing and doing what he or she needs to do. So why are you not doing it?
And then
Why is it you?
and I
Why
don't
is it
understand
you?
no data. What happened to library? You don't have data to make research. There is a place you can go and make research without spending money. Go and read. Go and read books and make research. Library used to be the best place to go until technology came and is trying to take away library. So you have no excuse whatsoever. If you don't have money for data, you don't go to the library. Just have an ID card. Go sit down hours and you would get more research than you would have gotten from the data.
Another research, interact.
Yes.
Do you know how research comes? Like, do you know the results you get from research when you interact with other people who are in the same field? Okay, so this person is getting it right in your office. Why not ask questions?
Yes.
Research does not necessarily mean that you go to the internet and then everything the internet downloads on you, that's what it is. No. The internet does make it easier for you, but you can go ahead and do extra. You know how everybody talks about questionnaires and all that? I literally had a focus group discussion for my project, and what I just did was I found a number of my classmates and classmates, and we just sat down, had a discussion. It did not even seem like I was asking them any questions. They did not even know I was doing my project, because I just kept on saying, okay, so what do you think about this movie and how does it work? Do you think that this works this way? And I got the answers to my project, and I went ahead to do my project. That was research. That's how sometimes you get information that you need to do your work. So you cannot say that you are incapable of doing something just because things seem hard. Hurdles and obstacles are there to make it your life better. I know at the moment where you are seeing the hurdle or the obstacle, you are just angry and sometimes discouraged, but that's not the end of the line. It cannot be an obstacle or a hurdle should not be the reason or should not be the excuse you would use so that you do not grow.
And you know, a life that is void of excuses doesn't mean that you don't make excuses at all. Like if they check you left, right, and center, no, we're all human beings. You know, we're not supreme beings and all. But it is life where you're intentional. Today you made these excuses and you know that they are not good. Tomorrow you are doing away with these ones. You're going further. It is a life of effort. Every day you're trying. You know, the kind of excuses we made 5, 6, 10 years ago, we're no longer making them now. Why? We learned. We grew. So it is not a life where you would pretend that there are no excuses at all. No. At one point or the other, we still find ourselves making certain excuses.
I
and
mean,
we
the
caution,
country we find
and we
ourselves,
caution ourselves.
there is a lot of
Exactly.
excuses to make.
But then we still caution ourselves time and time
Honestly.
again. And we keep growing. You know, it is a life where you live a life of legacy. When we talk about this legacy, it's not about when you die. You are watching it. It's like you're watching things unfold right in your presence, things about you. People are seeing the kind of things you do, the kind of excuses you give in your workplace, marketplace, church, wherever it is you go. people are watching, you would not even have an idea who is. Not like they'll raise their hands and say, I am part of those watching, but the kind of eyes that are on you, you don't know about it. So it is a life of intentionality. You have the right to make excuses. I need to pick this cup and take it over there, but I left it here. If it is a life of intentionality, whether I want to pick it or not, I pick it, and because that is the right thing to do. So it is a life where you know that people are looking up to you, even people that are way above you. They are still looking up to you because there's something they are seeing. That is why in that workplace, when something good comes, everybody is already pronouncing your name without knowing. Why? Because they have seen time and time again that you are intentional about certain things that you do.
Talking about people, talking about people watching. Let me add this: observing again.
Yes.
Like they are watching you and they are observing. It will come to a time whereby when my name is being mentioned, they'll be like, okay, just wait. Sheyi Sambo Solomon, just wait. This is what he will say. Exactly. This and this and this and this and this. And then here I come.
They won't say that if they have not observed.
You get? Then here I come, I just enter. They'll be like, why are you just coming now? Did you see the hold up from Rukuba Road to Gadabu to Hill Station?
Why would you drag Rukuba Road?
No, I'm just
speaking
saying.
on their
See
behalf.
how I link the whole thing now, like the road, like they
And many others pass through that way.
already. Hassan is in the office, 7 o'clock.
I mean, that's a GRA. Why are you dragging? Like, do they have hold up there?
Oh
wow!
So, okay, it's Jerry. Sorry, that's the reason why I choose it to mention to bring it as an example, because why will GRE like that and then you are dragging it into this mess of hold up and like do you get it won't make sense. And then you will see
an accident
and then they will tell you 7 trucks fell down at that bridge, but before he got there 4 were being cleared, and this and that and that, and then you will see Prudence looking at them
because everyone knows.
share with this.
This
with this.
This is something that you could have dodged, because if there was an accident, you could have worked over. Okay, so there's nothing you can do to aid help here. You don't have to stay and watch, and you have work. It's something that you can walk a distance and pick another ride.
What's part of the office? Prudence, you find out that nothing like that happened. That's just the point.
I get your point.
Like, if something happened, that one you can understand and say, okay, yes, there's a little accident there. Then you can reason, but still at that, you just say, you just hear, okay, if it's work related, for instance, something being given in the office, and then you fail in your own responsibility, the next thing you begin to drag everybody into it, because you are linking the issue to each cubicle of the office.
And
like
at the end of the day, everybody suffer. It's like if you had taken responsibility for that action, like it would just be you, and maybe nothing would happen. But because you don't want to be looked at as, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Meanwhile, you really don't know what you're doing. Because if you are taking a responsibility, you'll be corrected, and then you will not do it again. But because of pride, how can I reduce myself to say I'm the one at fault? You see everybody's salary being slashed because of one person's error. Oh God! And if you try it because of you, Samo Solomon, they slash my salary. I'll block you at that junction. I'll preach to you.
What is it? You are collecting too much now. Once in a while, they should let's feel those slash.
And you know when
that means back to you.
And when this kind of thing happens, when nobody's owning up to the responsibility, it blows the small thing out of proportion.
True.
I've seen a situation where something really small became something major because nobody was saying anything. The question was asked, how did this happen? And everybody's answer is, I don't know. I don't know. If everybody does not know, did the thing spoil itself, or did the thing happen by itself? You don't know. That's not supposed to be an answer. You should have answers. And this is it. Two things. It's either somebody is not okay, yes, there's the fact that somebody's not owning up to his responsibility, and the person who saw this person is trying to cover up. So this is like two people making excuses. This person making excuse because I don't want to lose my job. The other one making excuses that it is not my business and I don't want to look bad. I don't want to be the snitch in the scenario, in this situation. So both people should have owned up to your responsibility, or even one of them should have owned up to your responsibility. And because of that, this thing escalates and it just becomes a huge problem for the organization. And when every other person is affected, people even forget to remember that somebody did this thing, or everybody's just bitter about the fact that I am affected by something I did not do. So more times than not, our inactions affect people. And because our inactions affect people, it is important that we don't create excuses just like that. I belong to a group that we're supposed to be doing something, and all of us have been unavailable. So I went ahead to ask the person who created the group, and I'm like, okay, so this is the issue we are having. All of us are unavailable. Personally, I can't seem to make time for this, and I think we should do something about it. But then again, in the same group, some people really don't care that things are not going down well. Some people are just oblivious. They're not even bothered about the fact that we are not performing what we're supposed to perform. And you would hear excuses like, I don't have time, or somebody has not said anything, and so I'm not going to do anything. Just the other day, my sister was talking about how she belongs to a committee, and the leader keeps talking and saying, okay, I think we need to do this, but she has been asking him when, and she has gotten to a point that she's afraid to ask him before he will stop picking her calls because she's disturbing him. This is, I know that that sounds like a legitimate excuse to not go ahead and keep pressurizing the person so that we get this work done. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best choice to make.
And talking about excuses, one practical example I see is a lot of times we're always trusting God for a job. And then while trusting God, we are committed to certain things, probably in church or other places. And the commitment level is really high and encouraging. Like, okay, since you don't have any other thing doing, you're so committed in this. And then eventually you're blessed with a job. Then all of a sudden you go MIA. Like, nobody sees your brake light at all again. So I get to ask, so what exactly are you trying to do? Are you saying God made a mistake by giving you the job? Or because you've suddenly become so busy that you practically don't have time to do any other thing. So should he just take the job back so you go back to being committed? So my point is, I understand sometimes our jobs can be so tasking, takes all the time. But let's see these little efforts you're putting to reduce the level of excuses you're making. Today you're saying my job, tomorrow you're saying my job, next month you're saying my job, next year you're saying my job. That job should be able to allow you attend one function or the other. Your commitment, you should be able to, no matter how little it is. I know of this guy that when we were in the youth fellowship, his job was very tasking, but it got to a point that he would drop in the church. Even if we have closed, we would just walk back to our junctions together. He can easily just pass, but because he is so intentional about that, he would drop and meet us at the gate. Sometimes we're sharing the grace, or we are by the gate, and then we all just walk back. For me, let's see the little effort you're putting. It's not about excuse here, excuse there, but the little effort you're putting is what brings about growth. And God blesses the little. He doesn't bless the large things we have. It's the little effort, and that little can be in anything, any form. So the little things you're able to put your effort on, God blesses. And
You know, a
Remember,
preacher
don't you know
said
that some people
something.
is because they are idle, that's why they go to
I was going to say that
that's
it's
just
a
it.
bribe.
so that's like a bribe.
Yes, so
bribing
that's not like a
God. I'm
bribe.
doing
So
this,
I'm
so
just doing
so
this
when you
for
get
God
the
so
job,
that he will give me
You know
job.
what a preacher said? He
So-
said every time they keep asking you, say my job, my business, my job, and for how many years I've been giving the excuse, you have still not made the money, you are still struggling. And but
May
in
that
all
not
of
be our
this, is
portion
just
in Jesus'
amen.
name.
We just need to find a balance,
Yes.
and then let's know place our priorities
Mm.
right. Like Jemima spoke extensively about being intentional. If you want to live above excuses, you must be very intentional about your responsibility. And it speaks well of you that when you like, if you have to take excuse, let it be genuine. And then when you fail in your responsibility, like, it speaks well of you when you take up the responsibility. Oh, I apologize, this didn't work because of me, I did this, I did that, like, and then I didn't know I'm supposed to do it that way, I'm sorry about that. Now you're going to be directed on how to do it right. You see, you have learned, and you'll be trusted when there is another responsibility. But when you're always making excuses, even when you fail, you make excuse. Like, you take excuse. Okay, you don't take excuse. You don't show up at work and without an excuse. And when you come back, you have an excuse to fight the people. Okay, you did not see me. Why didn't you call me? Did you come and visit me?
What if I died?
Do you understand? You even hear people vowing, if I die, nobody from this office should come to my house.
If you come, I will stand up and push
Eh?
you.
See, they will come, they will take Coke, they will take Fanta, take all the soft drink and eat rice in your house and go back.
You know,
So,
And you see, Joyce, I think you talked about balance, and this thing is not a one-way traffic thing, because we are talking work. It's not a one-way thing. It's give and take. You understand? You as a employer and an employee, there's what is expected of an organization, and there's something that is expected of the person working for the organization. So it's a
two-way thing.
two-way thing, you know, for the relationship to work smooth and for that expected growth to be seen, you know, to be visible. Definitely that relationship has to be cordial. So that means there's a responsibility in the place of the employer and then the employee. And then you see, you can't totally blame the employer, the employee, you understand, for not doing certain things, and then totally blame the employer for not meeting up certain things. So we need to create that balance, because earlier you mentioned something that sometimes there are certain things you will need for you to work effectively, and then it's not there. And when you keep complaining about that, sometimes because it's something that you keep complaining and the thing is not there, it will sound like the person is trying to make an excuse. You understand? Because of the frequent, like, making excuses on that particular thing, on those things that you are supposed to get to aid your work. You understand? So it is very key, and it is very important for us to create that balance. What are you supposed to do? You know, try your possible best. Make sure that the environment, make sure what is there, you know, for the staff to do his best, you know, is there. And then for you, when the environment is conducive, you are expected not to make excuse and not to do your own part. Because sometimes you will find out when you see people relaxing is because they feel that their excuses are genuine. And whatever you try to do, at least they have a case to present. So why can't you just take that, and then whatever is there, then you will know that the person is just making noise, just creating an excuse because the person is not serious. I think it's very important. And then talking about the issue of us being intentional, it is very, very key. It's very important. I think it is overemphasized on this program, the issue of us being intentional about ourselves. Who are you? What do you want to become? What's your target in life? What do you want to achieve as a person? Like, I should open up. Who do you associate with? This will show the kind of person you are and what you want to be. If Joyce is ahead of me, and then I want to catch up, as she because where I want to be, if I'm looking up to her, definitely she's looking up to somebody. That means it's a journey. So how am I creating that relationship that journey will be smooth and I will follow her till that bus stop where she wants to stop? You have to create that relationship. So who are those people in your cycle to pull you? Because some people, I think it's spiritual. Let me just put it that way. Because there are some people, you will try your possible best. You are seeing potentials in them. You are trying to drag them, but something is pulling them. And you wonder. And sometimes some people will just get tired. I've tried my best because I'm trying to pull Prudence, and then it's like she's not seeing. So you just feel
common for us. It's really common for us to just say, "Oh, it's the devil."
It's the
devil.
devil.
Where do you
Yes.
see the devil? We just always.
Where do you
like,
see the
Do
devil?
you understand?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the devil. It's the devil. You decided in your heart that you want to go and do this, and you went and
Intention.
did the thing.
You think if you saw the
and
devil, you would have still done it.
you stand. So a lot of times we just use the is the devil. Oh, hey, the devil. That my village people that don't even know anything. They are busy with their.
Family.
It's my village people and all of that. But you see, when you know yourself, when you know the purpose of your existence, when you have a goal and you know where you are headed, if you are a focused person, you strive for excellence and value. It will save you a lot of excuses. It will help you to live above excuses. It's easy for you to get tossed by wind when you do not even know who you are. You don't know where you're headed. You don't know even the purpose of your existence. Excuses, like I said earlier, in its entirety might not be bad, but when it becomes a pattern and it becomes your lifestyle, then something is wrong with you. You need to go to Equa Prayer Unit for deliverance, because it is something is wrong when every day you are giving excuses. So you see, you need to be intentional that I'll be that one person that will be trusted. If nobody is found worthy, I will be that person. If people are satisfied where they are with the applauds of men, I will not stay there. I want to go higher. I am created in the image and likeness of God, and that is what I want to see reflected in me. And if you are saying you are created in the image and likeness of God, and that's the footprint you're following, then it means there is more to where you are. You know what the Bible says about people that are diligent in what they do? They will serve before kings. Who are you serving before now in your place of work and then in your area of endeavor or your business? Who are the people you're serving? You can answer yourself, because if you are really diligent at what you do, it is kings. The Bible says it's not ordinary men. So at where you are, because men are applauding and clapping for you, feel you have arrived, and no hunger, no appetite for more, because you feel I'm filled, I'm everywhere. No wonder a lot of celebrities or people that one time or the other, they are everywhere on flyers, everywhere today. It's like it's a story. Why? Because they got to certain level and they felt they have arrived, and now people are looking for the ones that have more. And they don't have the more. They have it all, but it's not more. We are in a time where the world keeps evolving. The world keeps evolving until you are more. See, at that average level, a lot of people are there. So you need to work hard to be up. And nobody will want to associate with you when you have nothing to offer. So let's make sure, let's ensure that we live above excuses. Like I said, if you want to live a life of excuse, you have the reasons. Like it's common to say I'm in Nigeria, so it's enough for me not to be an excellent person. Because I'll say, oh, there's no electricity, there's no this, there's no that. Because you are from, you have a lot of excuses already. But tell yourself, be determined that just like those great people we keep making reference to were determined regardless of their environment and the circumstances that they found themselves, I will do more because there is more in me. Like it is Christ that lives in me, so I will do more. So when we speak it to ourselves, and if we say we're the image and his likeness, created in his image and likeness, then there's more for us to give than excuses. So I just do hope that people out there will learn, take up responsibility, and then don't be on that part of one excuse to the other. Be that one person that will be trusted and that one person that when you say something, people can actually trust whatever you say today. Unfortunately, our time is actually fast spent. We have a lot to share with you, but we'll carry it over. Meanwhile, tomorrow we're discussing something very important that affects life generally. So don't miss out. We're talking about life, but a very important topic. So you did this with us. We are grateful. Thank you, Sambo Solomon, Prudence, and Jamima. And to Equa Executive, we're really grateful for this platform. Thank you, Equa TV supporters. To our crew members behind the cameras, you made this possible. Thank you, Hassan Danjuma, Mata Musa, Isa. Thank you, Morgak. We appreciate you, Mr. Victor Bandi. Thank you, Jeff, Desmond, Moses, Zita. You're welcome. Thank you, Yila. We appreciate you, Jerry, Damina, Linda, and Margaret. We're grateful. And we'll come your way tomorrow, same time. Stay blessed.